with some of my clients that are very religious, who very much believe that, God put every plant and seed on this planet for us to nurture ourselves, and everything that they continue to learn
Enjoy the earth.
Cannabis is a medical miracle. It is a health plant, and some people believe that depriving ourselves of cannabis since 1937 in a vast majority in a lot of products and foods has caused a lot of the health effects that we have today with autism, cancer, and stuff like that, because we didn't have that preventative medicine that was in almost every over-the-counter drug back before 1937.
The proof is in Charlotte's Web. Look what it's done for these children that have these debilitating seizures. The ones that are killing these children. I mean, the proof is right there. Look, let's just take those cases alone. All right, let's just look at those cases.
I'll be the devil's advocate with Charlotte's Web. Charlotte's Web really only helps about 40% of the children. They need something better. They need the full cannabis plan. They need what's going to be approved by Amendment 2 this year. They need it with THC, and if you help them...
So I was just going to ask you, Michael, you're saying the low THC, high CBDs is good, but it's not good enough.
Absolutely, it is not good enough at all. It's I know from personal knowledge that it has not helped all the children that are on it, but yet with different variations of THC in the plans. And now remember, most people don't realize this, but cannabis, CBD and THC is an antagonist, meaning that if you have 10% CBD and 8% THC, you're probably still not getting high off that weed. You're not going to get the psychoactive effect because the CBD counteracts the psychoactive effect of the THC. So it's not like even if you increase those amounts of THC that people will be getting or these kids are going to be getting high. But they need it. It's one of the best medicines. It kills tumors. It helps create and connect the paths in their brain that they may need, because a lot of these disorders are genetic, or they have problems in the brain with their neurons and how they're firing. And this THC product can help it.
Hey, Mike. Aside from that, I believe the euphoric effects of marijuana at least takes their mind off the misery they are in for at least a little while. Gives them a little few hours to relax and not feel and think about the misery of the disease they're dealing with.
Hey, Paulie, I'm getting a lot of feedback from the live show that you're listening to.
Yeah, ask the veterans, really, because they're the ones that want to use it for PTSD now. In some states, they are able to. But these are people that are getting busted in this state who fought for our country, getting threatened with going to jail, being on probation, who fought for our country day and night, and aren't being able to allow to use cannabis for their medicine because they wake up at night with suicidal dreams.
Yeah.
I mean, this is insane.
Yeah. And then you got to worry about how they're getting treated at the VA hospitals. Nevertheless, they're not getting the right treatment. You know what I mean? They're pumping them full of these poisonous drugs, telling them, that just disgusts me. Listen, my wife is on 18 different pills a day. My wife is very young. She should not have to take as much medication as she does. But you know what? Let me tell you something. There are other alternatives. You know it. I know it. The people need to realize it, open their eyes, educate. Michael, will you stay with us real quick? We're going to take a commercial break. You stay with us. We'll be right back, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Hello. My name is Michael Minardi. I'm a board member at Normal of Florida. And we support your vote yes on Amendment 2. Why? Because Amendment 2 will help so many thousands of Americans in the state of Florida. There's already a report that over 400,000 people would already qualify with their illnesses for the medical use of cannabis. It is important that people are allowed to use cannabis or have the ability to choose the medical use of cannabis over prescription medications. This isn't about giving it to the kids. This isn't about legalization. What this is about is adults between their doctor deciding whether or not cannabis is a reasonable option for their illness, whether or not it's a safe option for their illness, and whether or not they have the ability to use cannabis for their illness.
Nardi Law, 772-463-6571.
Hey, we're live, back with Talk Shit Radio. We got Michael Minardi on the phone live with us. Michael, the commercial I just played, I just wanted to open it up for you there. It's about Normal of Florida. Would you explain to people a little more about what Normal of Florida is and your role and what you do with it?
Normal of Florida is a section of National Normal, which is the National Organization for the Reformation of Marijuana Laws. And we are working on daily, step-by-step approaches to try to change the laws in this state, get people educated about the issue, know what's going on. Because, ladies and gentlemen, education is the key. Becoming involved is the key. And getting out of the damn closet and becoming part of the movement is the key. There are too many people who are afraid because of our persecution by our damn government.
Absolutely.
That if you speak out and become part of this movement, they're going to target you.
I'm afraid.
And the bottom line is we have to say screw it. We have to do it because without the vote, without the people standing up and telling the politicians and telling the courts and telling the prosecutors that we don't want to persecute people for these goddamn cannabis plants, for possessing it, for using it, we're still going to be stuck where we have been for the past 40 years.
Absolutely.
And nobody should be going to jail for cannabis in this state. Nobody should be losing their license for 2 years for a possession offense.
Yeah.
You could be walking down the street,
Tell
you
me
lose your
about
license for 2 years. Whereas if you have a DUI, you lose your license for 6 months.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
It's all about money.
It is. People need to join Normal. I was talking to a client the other day. They pulled out the statistic. For drug crimes, approximately in St. Lucie County, they get $158 for every arrest that they make for that drug crime. Now, how much money do you think they get for an incentive program for murder or rape or theft?
Yeah.
Just take a guess.
5.
Zero.
Wow.
Yeah. They get paid.
The victim is fines they get paid for.
That's right. For nonviolent arrest, they get paid. They get incentives.
Isn't that a little that's a little ridiculous. Sounds like a little money-hungry business going on for me.
I mean, you got to think all the biggest lobbyists against legalization are all organizations who have a substantial amount of money to lose,
Something to lose.
As a result of it being legal.
Big oil, big farm, all those guys.
Well, let me ask you something.
Private prison and police benevolent associations as well.
Well, I read somewhere that one of the biggest revenue sources for the local police departments and things of that nature was cannabis, and that they're actually supposedly now okay. Yeah, this is on the internet, so you can only believe so much what you read. But that they are instructed and told and trained specifically to go after drug-related cannabis arrests because they generate the most revenue.
Well, over 21 grams in Florida, if you're driving around with it, they can seize your vehicle.
Wow.
And take it and forfeit it. And that's where they make billions of dollars. And I couldn't imagine if it was correct or not. But looking at the St. Lucie County's budget analysis, supposedly from forfeitures, they were bringing in about $79 million a year. I don't know if it does not seem correct.
That disgusts me.
I know it's probably at least $300,000 to $400,000 to $500,000 worth of property and assets a year.
That disgusts me because our dear sheriff here in Hernando County just asked for what, $1.4 million from the state?
What's going to happen when you get this legal? Are the police stations going to go broke?
Yeah, let's talk about that, Mike. Come November, when it does happen, how do you think that's going to go over? You know what I mean? How do you think we're going to be able to transition from a non-cannabis state to a cannabis state? And how long do you think that'll take?
They'll tax it.
Well, surprisingly, I think in most states it's gone well. You had the one rogue cop who just got suspended in Seattle, who had, so far this year, wrote 80% of all the tickets for open use and public consumption of cannabis in the city of Seattle, with little snide remarks to the city attorney about it. He got suspended recently. But, the bottom line is, and I think a lot of cops, and granted there's some that have, and some places that have these horrible personal beliefs about cannabis, but unfortunately, the majority of them that I speak with, don't really care. Don't really want to deal with cannabis-related things, and, in many ways just feel like we're enforcing the law. If the law changes, we'll enforce that law as it is then.
Yeah, see, that's a put off tomorrow what you can do today attitude, and that doesn't work.
Right, but in many respects, and I hate to say this, but, it's the way that they do it. I wouldn't mind if they did it most of the time in an honest, reasonable way, how they stopped and did things and didn't feel like they were mostly dishonest and had to lie or coerce people majority of the time.
Or steal your weed.
Right, but if they did it, well, and sell it.
Yeah, right.
Look up, there was a great article in the Sun Sentinel about cash, cocaine, and cops. It was about the Sunrise Police Department.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and all the money they made off forfeitures and things like that. And they were using some hot Cuban chick to lure people in here from out of state and with a lot of money, and they were giving like two for one deals on kilos of cocaine.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
anybody who's going to believe that is deserves what they get.
Yeah, well, like Joseph said, if it's too good to be true, it is too good to be true.
You got a little, beautiful Cuban girl hitting on you, telling you, she likes you, and
I already
stuff
lost.
like that, and setting you up with the sale. It gets a lot of people. Yeah, it gets a lot of people.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'll tell her whatever she wants to hear. Yeah, I love cocaine.
Yeah, exactly. And in some of the cases, the defendants were able to prove the entrapment.
Well, that's good. At least it fell apart on them.
And the Department of Health will have, 6 months approximately after the initiative is passed in order to set forth rules and regulations on it. They are able to put reasonable regulations on it. But, there's a lot of good language in the ballot.
So you're figuring about 6 months. Yeah, about 6 months it's going to take them to figure out what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, and actually get it out to the people to where we can actually start benefiting from the use of medical cannabis.
Yeah, I would say September, October of 2015.
Yeah, see, well, I mean, you know what? We've been fighting this for how long now? How many years now we've been fighting this war? So it's a major victory, and according to the numbers, it's gonna be a landslide. No,
just the fact that it's on the ballot is a major victory.
Yes.
Everybody should come out, and yes, thank you to Morgan and him putting your money behind it, because before that, we didn't have the funding. The ballot initiative we were doing was going nowhere.
Yep.
And so, big kudos to him to being willing to fund this and step up to the plate and get people to realize cannabis is medicine. People need it, and they need it now.
Absolutely.
Well, that's what I liked about Morgan & Morgan is they stepped forward with their own reputation and their own money and pushed this forward. It didn't appear to be a corporate scam to gain profit.
Well, you realize that, and granted, I agree in some respects with that, but Charlie Crist is running for governor. And not only in the Department of Health and what the regulations are going to be in the program that we have in this state, a big determination of that is going to be who's elected as governor. We have to support Charlie Crist in this matter. We should all support Bill Wilshire running for Attorney General in this matter. He would be willing to take cannabis out of Schedule 1 with the stroke of a pen, and he would have the power himself to do that if he's elected as Attorney General.
Yeah, because I heard Chris was also not, if it passed, was not going to veto it.
Well, for one, no one can veto a constitutional amendment if it passes. That's impossible. It's law. They have to apply it. They have to allow it to go forward. Crest is most likely going to open up a much more liberal cannabis-type market. We really need to elect him. And I do, unfortunately, believe you said no financial investment for Morgan. I don't know this, but I would think that he would, in some way be a player